my town, we don't open the door on Sundays. Ever. It sounds like a small thing. A strange superstition passed down from the kind of people who still nail horseshoes above their doors and burn sage after funerals. But to us, it was law, the kind of law no one questioned. Not even the new families who moved in, thinking they were too modern for old folklore. You learn fast here. You learn after the first time you hear the knocking. When I was a kid, my parents told me that Sundays were the day the world rested, but they never said who was resting. They'd shut every curtain tight, unplug the phone, and make sure the front door's deadbolt clicked twice. Even our neighbors, the Myers, who threw barbecues and birthday parties every other weekend, went silent on Sundays. The entire town would feel like it was holding its breath. No cars, no dogs barking, no laughter. Just that heavy, humming quiet. I used to sit by my window, staring at the empty streets and wondering what was so bad about a knock. I found out one October evening when I was 22. My parents had passed, and I lived alone in the old family house, the one with the blue shutters and the peeling porch paint. That Sunday, the power had gone out just before nightfall, and I figured stupidly that the world wouldn't end if I left a candle burning in the window. That's when I heard it. 3 slow knocks. Deep. Hollow. They didn't sound like knuckles, more like something heavier, and for a moment, I thought it was my imagination. But Toby, my dog, began to growl low and sharp, the kind of sound dogs make when they smell something wrong. That is, when I remembered what my mother always said. If you hear knocking on a Sunday, pretend you don't. The first knock was followed by silence so deep it hurt my ears. Then came a voice, muffled, just beyond the wood. "Honey, it's me. Please open the door." It was my mother's voice, the same soft tone, the same little quiver at the end of words. My stomach turned cold, because she'd been gone for 5 years. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Toby whimpered and backed into the hallway, pressing his body flat against the wall like he wanted to melt into it. Then the voice spoke again, clearer this time, closer like her lips were pressed to the crack in the door. "Please, sweetheart. It's so cold out here. Just let me in." My mind scrambled for logic, for reason. Maybe it was a recording. Maybe someone was playing a cruel joke. But in our town, no one ever joked about Sundays. The knocking came again, softer now, like fingertips brushing wood. Against every instinct, I crept forward and looked through the peephole. What I saw made my skin crawl backward. There was someone standing on the porch, dressed in my mother's old housecoat. Her head tilted slightly to one side, smiling. But her eyes were wrong, too wide, too shiny, reflecting the candlelight like a cat's. I stumbled back, covered my mouth to keep from screaming. That's when the thing outside stopped pretending. "We told you," it said in a voice that cracked like static. "No doors on Sundays." The last word dragged out, long and low, until it no longer sounded human. Toby barked once, and then whimpered again, and I swear I saw the door handle twitch. I ran into the hallway closet and slammed it shut. The air inside was thick and dusty, the kind that sticks to your tongue. But I didn't dare make a sound. Outside, the door creaked open, not with a crash, not suddenly, just slow, deliberate movement, like whoever was coming in wanted me to hear every inch of wood scraping against the floor. I could hear wet footsteps there, sticky ones crossing the carpet. They were heading straight toward the hall. My phone screen lit up in my pocket. 9:13 p.m. The signal bars blinked in and out. Then a notification appeared. New voicemail from Mom. I couldn't help it. I listened. Her voice was whispering, slow and trembling. "You shouldn't be awake right now." The message ended with a faint scratching sound, no words, just something dragging across a hard surface. Then, outside the closet, something whispered my name. It wasn't mocking. It wasn't angry. It was curious, like a child testing the shape of a new word. I covered my ears, squeezing them until I felt pain. The floorboards creaked closer, then silence. For the longest time, I sat there, counting my heartbeats. When I finally dared to open the closet door, the house was empty again. The front door was shut. The candle had burned out, and on the glass, written in something black and smeared, were the words, "Next Sunday, back door." I didn't sleep for 3 days after that. I packed a bag and left town, driving until my hands hurt from gripping the wheel. I rented a motel room 2 states away and told myself it was over. But that Sunday night, as I sat watching TV, there it was again. The lights flickered, the clock blinked 9:13 p.m., and then 3 slow knocks on the motel door. I froze. My chest went tight. It couldn't be possible. The front desk clerk had said there were no guests on my floor. I turned off the lights, heart hammering so hard I could hear it. The knocking stopped. Then came the same voice. "Honey, it's me." It was softer this time, more tired, like it had traveled a long way. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I waited for the voice to fade, but it didn't. It whispered, "I can see you through the window." My stomach dropped. The motel had no windows that faced the hallway. I looked slowly toward the bathroom mirror. The reflection of the door shimmered like heat rising off asphaltan for a second. I saw her face again, pressed against the glass. Only this time, she wasn't smiling. Her mouth opened, wider and wider, until it split across her cheeks, stretching into something that wasn't a human mouth anymore. The lights blew out completely, and in the dark, I heard the click of the door unlocking. When he woke up, the door was closed again. Morning light filtered through the blinds. My phone sat on the nightstand, battery dead. I told myself it was a nightmare, but when I stood, my bare feet landed in something cold and wet. There were footprints on the floor, leading from the door to the edge of the bed, and on the mirror, written in fog, were the words, "We found you." I drove again that day. Farther this time. I moved every few months, never staying anywhere for long. But no matter where I go, the same thing happens every Sunday. It doesn't matter in a crowded city or an empty cabin in the woods. At exactly 9:13 p.m., I hear it. The 3 slow knocks. Sometimes it's at the door. Sometimes the window. Once, it came from the floor beneath me. And always, that same voice follows. "Honey, it's me." Some nights, I can almost convince myself that if I just answered, if I just opened the door, it would stop. That maybe it is my mother. That maybe she just wants to come home. But then I remember the eyes, the smile, the way it said "we," because whatever that thing is, it's not her. It never was. And lately, I've started hearing more than one voice outside. They whisper to each other. They laugh softly. And sometimes they call other names. So if you ever visit my town, remember tease, we don't open the door on Sundays. Ever? You might think it's silly, some local ghost story to scare kids or keep tourists in line. But you'll understand after the first knock, it's not just one voice anymore. It's a chorus. Sometimes they knock in rhythm. Sometimes they scrape their fingers down the walls just to hear how it sounds. I've met others, people who moved away from our town like I did. We all hear the knocking now. One guy I met online said he recorded it once, and when he played it back, there were whispers under the sound, hundreds of them, all saying the same word, home. I don't think it's about my town anymore. I think it's spreading. I think every time someone listens to this story, every time someone wonders what the knocking sounds like, they start to hear it too. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not this Sunday. But eventually. So wherever you are, when the sun sets and the streets go quiet, and you think you hear someone you love at the door, don't open it. Don't even look. Because once you do, they'll know where you are. And once they know, they never stop knocking. Low whisper, fading out. You hear that? 3 slow knocks. That means they're listening. If you're brave enough to keep listening, then don't move. Click here for the next story. But be warned, the one that comes after this isn't just about a door. It's about what happens when you finally open it.